Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. So this is for my sister. I'm wearing her Pizza Shop t-shirt. I've got so much to talk with you about today, but unfortunately, this is going to be a real show and tell type of show. And I know I shouldn't do those, but I kind of went crazy during Christmas and I ordered a lot of stuff and it's all arriving. And I am going to show some stuff, but I'm also going to talk about some stuff that I read and some experiences I had. So as I look around me, you can't see it, but I've got stacks of stuff everywhere. So I'm going to start going through it. And I am going to give a little bit of a Los Angeles fire situation update. So the first thing I want to show, this arrived today, is I finally have a creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a couple of these that are out, older editions, and they're really, really expensive. And this is a newer version that's kind of like has cartoon drawing on it. There's a series of 5. And so this is the first one that I have. But I'm so happy to finally have this in my collection. If I buy another one, I will take him out of the box. But I actually like this orange box, so I'm actually going to keep him because these Universal Monster ones are really kind of a collection for me. I also bought, my husband and I went to the local bookstore the other day, and he got some books, and I got these. So I got these 2 sets of tarot cards, and I didn't open this one yet, so I'll show that next week. But the first one is Horror Tarot, and from what I can gather, they're a real tarot deck. And once you open it up, they have, how to do tarot, which I'm never going to do. But each tarot card, and there's a lot of them, each one of these is, I think, a real horror cover, paperback cover, and it's just they put the tarot information on the front. So let me give you an example like that one. Some of them are really cool because they have these really old. My husband says that he's got a complaint that when I show things, I don't show them long enough. So I have to tell myself to pause a little bit as I show these things. Look at that. Is that from The Howling? Oh, look at that. I forget that actor, but, that's Quasimodo. Not Peter Lorre. Who is that actor? I forget. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, look at that. The Exorcist. And then they even have, like, an EC. There's a whole bunch of these, like an EC. Each section has, like, a whole bunch of different cards in that vein, like that. So these were cheap. They were $12 for each set, and I'm gonna really enjoy going through these. And so I wanted to show that off. And then next week, if I'll remember, I'll show off the pulp one. I think the pulp one was actually released first, and then this is a follow-up. Yeah, the pulp tarot. So yeah, I'll show that off next week. Excuse me. So I actually got 3 slabs, and I know slabs are so controversial. I don't care. I have 3, and I paid about $18 each, and I want to see what you think. So the first slab is an 8.5 of Conan number 55. I really wanted it because I love yellow covers. And this, I believe, is just going to be such a great art piece. So 8.5 for that Conan. Next, I don't have the next 2 in single issues. So that's a really bad thing because I know so many of the people that disagree with slabs is because you can't read them. And I actually don't have these copies. I will get them eventually. I have a lot in the series, but I don't have number 1 yet. But look at this. It's a 6.0 of the Shadow, and it looks beautiful to me. The Shadow number 1. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous cover. Like, maybe it's 6 because the back looks a little dirty. I don't know, but the front, oh, it's a Mike Caluto cover. The front looks immaculate to me. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. Why is this a 6.0? It doesn't say on it. Okay. And then the third one I got was a 3.5. If you can believe I bought a comic of a grade 3.5. But let's look at it. It's Captain America number 118. $18 for this. This was the second appearance of the Falcon and Red Wing. And there's even a letter from Steve Gerber in here of Man-Thing and Howard the Duck kind of fame. And I mean, look at that background, red background, just a cool issue. And if you look at it close, yes, it's got spine ticks, but it's a 15-cent comic. And the reason it's 3.5, I think, because that looks way better than 3.5 to me. It says that there are 2 center wraps detached. Who cares? They're in the middle, and you're not going to open it up. So for that, it got dropped to a 3.5, and I was able to snatch it up. Thank you very much. Wow. That's so cool. If any of you out there have really low slabs and you bought them and now you don't want them, well, you contact me. I'll give you $10 for them. All right. Now, what do I have next? Some albums, and there's going to be 2 sets. So like I said, my husband and I, we went out and we went to the local record store and I bought 4 albums. Now, the first one, an older couple came in and they had a huge stack of records, and the guy at the counter, he bought some of them, and then the rest, he was like, oh, we don't want these. And she's like, they didn't want to carry them. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just, either put them in the dollar bin or throw them away. And I looked through them and there weren't any good ones, except I did find this one. And I was like, for $1, I'll take that because I like the cover. And he was like, you could have it for free. So Don Giovanni highlights. I liked the cover on it. And then the next one I got was Yumi Matsutoya. And so she's actually a Japanese artist that I know. And so I was able to get this album. That was $12. I got another Lou Rawls album. That's Lou. And this one was $5. I mean, how fun is that? And finally, this felt like kismet because of the audio vinyl was, is that the name? I always forget. Doug Anderson, the audio vinyl. Is that right? It's the audio vinyl. I should be wearing a shirt right now. Anyways, Doug Anderson just mentioned how much he really liked this album. And then I found it, and look at it. It's pristine. The condition all throughout. Now, what's not pristine are the albums. The albums are like a little bit, I think one of them is a little bit scratched. But this pristine, beautiful version, $2. And I was like, yes, please, look at that. So, pretty nice score on those records. And then today, my husband and I, we went out, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while. But we went to a record store called the Record Parlor, and I'm going to talk about why. And I got 2 records, and he got 2 CDs and a record. So I'm going to show off his CDs. The CDs, everything in the store was, okay price to a little bit high. But, it's Hollywood. So this is a Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Around, Sex Drive. This is like the weirdest compilation. There's 2 CDs. One that's all versions of You Spin Me Round. And then the other one is all versions of the song Sex Drive. I was like, are you sure you want that? And of course he did. I was like, okay, $4 wasted. I hope he doesn't watch this. And then he wanted this Sylvester, the 12 by 12 collection. And we actually listened to this on the way home. We only got to the first 4 songs because they're all pretty long. And I hadn't heard any of them. Now, Do You Want a Funk is the last song on here, but that's a CD bonus track. Anyway, Sylvester. I have I don't know if I told this before, but one of my students, God, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. She said that her mom was a cousin of Sylvester, and she was talking about kind of the stigma about, Sylvester being gay and everything. And it was interesting, because one of my junior high school kids talking about Sylvester. That was really interesting. And then as we were leaving, we were almost out the door, and we saw a Divine record. It was like way up, and it was $40. And he didn't want to get it, and I'm like, he's like, oh, but I love it. And I was like, okay, let's just buy it. We've never seen this one before. And this is a non-stop dance remix of T-shirts and tight blue jeans, but it's also got Love Reaction, Shoot Your Shot. I think they're all mixed in. Yeah, I mean, another Divine record for the collection. And then I didn't want to leave empty-handed, so I saw this Tarkus album by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and it was in beautiful condition, and so it was $8. So I was like, yeah, I want it, just because the cover's in such a nice condition. And then I found another Molly Hatchet. Now this one is not by Frazetta. This one says, I see Ezra. I'm not sure who that artist is, but I kind of wanted it, so I went ahead and got it. Molly Hatchet for the art. And so that was our little foray into that record shop. But again, near the end, I'm going to talk about our trip and what we did. Because, we wanted to get out. I might as well talk about it now. But I do have other things to show you. So my husband wanted to get out today. We were kind of stir crazy. And, his sister-in-law was here. So, my sister-in-law. Sorry. My throat is still acting up. And so she was able to, be here for the kids. And so we went out to lunch, and we had a really nice lunch. There's a vegan restaurant called My Vegan, and man, the food is good. We always buy too much because I like to bring it home and have it for tomorrow. And of course we did that. So we had a great lunch. And I asked him, hey, would you like to just drive and see what's going on? And he said he wanted to drive to Sunset. And I said I wanted to drive and see the bunny museum if we could, to see what happened with it. And so we ended up doing both. We went to, I don't know if you remember the map. So I'm trying to remember. The Eaton Canyon area is kind of northeast, and then the Sunset is west. And we're kind of equidistant from both. And so as we were going, we drove all up in there, but once we got there, it was problematic because, let me see if I can find the photos. I thought I put them here. Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, my iPad is charging, so it's hard for me to pull it up. Hold on. As we were moving, I'm gonna have to unplug it. Let me see if I have enough charge. 22%. Yeah, sorry. As we were driving up, every street was cordoned off, and there were probably what do you call them? Reserves? I don't know, but they were there and they were blocking, and they wouldn't let even pedestrians go through. Like every place that we went, every corner, you could not get through. So you could see the mountains behind them. And we were kind of surprised because we didn't see any flames, anything, nothing burnt. And this is bad to say, but my husband was like, fake news, it's all fake. And I'm like, I was laughing at that. So anyways, we drove all through there. But then as we drove toward Hollywood, the sun was going down, and we just saw this big cloud in the sky, and it looked like that was from the quality of the air. But we were driving like that, and I said to him, hey, why don't we try to go to the beach and see if we could see what it looks like at the beach? So we drove and we drove, and it's really far, all the way down Sunset. And then finally, when we were almost there, maybe, I don't know, like maybe 4 miles away, something like that. They blocked off all the streets again, and we couldn't get through. So we had to turn around and go 10 miles back. But it was a nice drive. And so we got to see this the whole drive, and it actually looked beautiful driving into that. We actually put the phone on the dash, and we filmed it. So I was gonna maybe make a video on that and put it as B-roll talking about it. I'm not sure if I will. So then we came back to Hollywood, and I was like, hey, let's go to Amoeba. And he's like, okay. And so we stopped, and Amoeba closed at 5 today. Normally they're open till 11 on Friday, 10 or 11. And they closed early because of everything that's going on. I was like, drat. But there's another record store around the corner from Amoeba called the Record Parlor. I have the bag. I was going to show it. Where's the bag? Look, I'm so unorganized. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Gonna bend down and get it. So there's the logo, the Record Parlor, and that's where we got the records that I showed you. So we walked. It was an 8-minute walk, and it was nice to just walk around. Now the funny thing is, you would think, well, what about the air quality? Blah 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 blah. No, it was so clear. It seems like the wind just took everything away within a day. It was crazy because I was expecting it to be like all cloudy, all smoky, nothing. And to show off that fact, my husband took a picture. Oh, I don't think I ported it over. So as he was driving, he took a picture of the night skyline, and it was so clean and so clear. I was very, very surprised. And I was going to show you more pictures of downtown, but again, I think I forgot to send them over. So here's my husband in the record store. What album is he looking at? Laura Branigan, Hold Me. And there's the record parlor. He's holding the bag. And that's before we found the Divine. That's when we bought everything. And then we walk a little bit, and that's when we found the Divine. And so he got another picture holding his Divine record. And I think that's going to be it. I'm going to plug this back in. Wait, there's... Oh, no, there's actually a couple more pictures I want to show. Number one, I watched one movie, and it was Ultraman Rising. Now, yesterday, we were going to watch a movie with the kids, and I noticed that there was a Wallace and Gromit movie that I've been waiting to see. Well, the kids, we started the movie, but the kids didn't come, and then we asked them, and they were like, no, they didn't want to watch the movie. So my husband didn't want to watch that, so I started flipping, and I know he likes Godzilla movies, and so I put on Ultraman Rising, and I didn't realize it was a cartoon. And at the beginning, he was like, ugh. But he loved this movie so much. I liked it. It's totally a kid's movie. But the animation style was really interesting, and it was fun. But it's definitely a kid's movie. But if you have kids and you like animated movies, and you like kaiju movies like Godzilla and that kind of thing, well, you might enjoy Ultraman. Now, I have a soft spot for Ultraman because I watched him as a kid. And so it's a little bit nostalgic for me as well. So there you go, Ultraman Rising. This morning, I was doing the New York Times connections, right? And so I got the first two, and then I was trying to figure out the other one, and then I could not figure these out. So I made a try of goat, because I thought, what I was thinking is words that you could change into another word. So goat can become toga. And then car can become arc. And what was the other one I chose? Host can become shot. And door can become odor. So I clicked those 4. And I was right, but for the wrong reason. And so I got it, and I was like so happy. But the reason was that there's something called the Monty Hall problem. And the Monty Hall, of course, is from the Let's Make a Deal host. And so, host, there are 3 doors. Behind one door, behind 2 doors are goats, and behind one door is a car. And so the Monty Hall problem is a mathematical problem that is of the Viridiana type. I'm sorry, the veridical type. I looked this up because I was like totally fascinated. I had never heard about this. And so this is a problem that is a paradox because the solution is so counterintuitive that it seems absurd. And so whenever you present this problem, this mathematical problem to people, people just can't believe it. And they refuse to believe it because it's so counterintuitive. And here's what it is. So I kind of tried to memorize this, and don't shoot the messenger. If you don't believe this is true, look it up. So let's say, on the Price is Right, you had to choose one door. So let's say you choose door number 1, right? Door number 1. And so now you had a 1 in 3 chance to get the car, and you had a 2 in 3 chance to get the goat. So then Monty Hall says, hey, in door number 3, there's definitely a goat. So now he gives you a choice. Do you want to stick with your choice, or do you want to choose the other one? And what's counterintuitive is that it says that if you switch, you have a better chance of winning than if you stay. So it seems like it would be equal, right? But it's not by statistics. And here's where I get fuzzy to try to explain this. If you stay where you are, you have a 1 in 3 still. But if you switch, you have a 2 in 3. And nobody believes it. It's counterintuitive. It's ridiculous. Everybody believes that it's an equal, a 50-50. I just thought this was fascinating. And so this led me, that stupid connections thing led me down this Monty Hall problem. I'd never heard of it. I don't know. Have any of you out there heard of this? And then, like, everybody online, when they read this, they argue, and it's just one of those really interesting things. Statistics. Another thing is, excuse me, Super 7 is putting out a series of Micronauts, and they're $20 each, and I have so many of these things, and I actually took them off my wall because I just don't have space for all of them. But man, I would like to collect these. This is the first wave, so they will have more. But look at those backing cards. Look at the little dolls. I'm a big Micronauts fan from the Marvel comics, but I don't think I'm going to buy them. And I think that's all. Yep, that's all for the pictures I'm going to show. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in before it runs out of battery. Now, but I still have a lot to talk to you about. So don't go away. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is another show and tell. Wait, this isn't going to work. I'll unplug it again. So I read a story called Nightfall by Isaac Asimov, and I was blown away. I loved it so much. I thought it was such a beautifully written story. He packed so much into it, so many ideas, right? And so I wanted a book that had that story in it. I don't know why. Like, I have enough books behind me that I haven't read? No. So I'm a sucker for these old paperback books, right? With these vintage paperbacks. So I went ahead and I made a bid for 6 Isaac Asimov books, and I think 5 of them are short stories. So I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, but I'm going to be reading some more Isaac Asimov. But look at these cool covers. Now, I don't know what's going on, like, with this guy. What's going on? I don't know. But is he in a dream state? Like, what is he doing with that thing? Like, that is a weird cover. I still love it. And these are 12 stories in this one. Look at this one. Some weird kind of Frankenstein Martian. I don't know. He looks like Martian Manhunter. The Currents of Space. I think this one is the novel. I might have this one. And I might have this one. So if I have this, some lucky person out there is going to get a copy of this. The End of Eternity. Pretty cool. 2 more to show. Here is Earth is Room Enough. God, that one sounds familiar too. I might have that. I didn't care. I wanted the one with Nightfall in it. And then here's a book. The Gods Themselves. What do you think of these covers? Oh, wait, there's one. No, that's it. 6 of them. Oh, I might as well show off. I got these 2 science fiction magazines. I've been buying up some magazines. By buying up, I mean I have a couple. So I got this. I can't wait to read these science fiction. And this one is number 6, and this one is this one says number 1, but it's actually a special. So it's not really number 1. But look at those cool magazines. Can't wait to read those. Now, what's been happening? Should I talk about the Spirit? No, I'll save the Spirit for last. Okay. Let me go ahead and put these down. Like I said, I got too much stuff everywhere. I think I need another cough drop. So I bought this. They're called Penguin Little Classics. And I really liked them when I saw them. I mean, they're smaller than the normal ones. And they're easier to get through. And they just look so cool. So I bought this one by Lafcadio Hearn. Because I like the title. Of Ghosts and Goblins. And so when it arrived, I was, talking about it with a friend of mine. And then I was like, she said, oh, he's famous for the Qui-Gon stories. And they made a movie out of that. And I'm like, I've never read those. And then I started researching him. And I was like, you dodo, I already have a book by him. And I've actually read it. It's a really good book. Japanese ghost stories. And so all of these stories are in here. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm reading through this. And I am enjoying this so much. These stories are so much fun. And he's a good writer. And he always he might write about himself, but then he'll weave Japanese folk tales into them. Dang. And he tells the story, and they're just really engaging. And they're always ghost stories, right? So I'll give you an example of 2. The first one, he's like staying at a Japanese inn, and he has to go somewhere, and he leaves the inn, and he's told that he must pay, for example, 75 yen. I think they say 70 sen. And this kind of weaves into the story that he tells. And then you get this kind of bookend. He tells 2 different stories in this tale as he's going across to wherever he's going, and he's got a driver. And that's probably someone that was, pulling him. But anyways, one of the stories is it's very Rip Van Winkle, where this guy is fishing, and he throws a turtle back, and turtles are sacred. And so he's visited by a sea woman, and she asks him if he would like to be her husband, and she takes him under the sea, and they're living happily ever after. But then he's, thinking about his parents, and he asks if he can go back. And she's like, yes. And she's crying and crying and crying. She says, you can go back, but here's a box. You can't open it. This has everything you need to get back to me. And so when he goes back up on land, it's 400 years later. And of course, everybody he knows has died, and he's like, "What is going on?" So of course he opens it, and he immediately like ages and falls to dust. These stories are really cool, and I was just like, entranced while reading this, and then that circles into what's going on with him, and the most recent one that I read, this woman is dying, and the husband has like 4 or 5. They're not mistresses. I think they're concubine. I don't know what they're called, but they're basically more than one wife. And so the oldest wife calls in the youngest one, who's 19, and she says, "Hey, I would really like to see the cherry blossom trees before I die. I'm going to recommend, of course, that you get everything and that you become his number one wife," and blah blah blah. And so she turns around so that she can carry her on her back, and the old lady latches her hands to the young girl's breasts, and then she cackles and she dies. And they can't like remove the woman from the young girl's breast. She's like fused. And so they try to remove the hands, but she starts bleeding. So cool. And so the only thing they can do is they have to cut off the body, and the hands stay there. And every night around like 2 a.m. for an hour, the hands get active, and they dig into her breasts and like torture her. And it's like the weirdest story, but these things are so much fun. So if you like what I've said to you, an old woman mauling a young woman's breast for eternity, well, there you have it. You could get this Penguin Classics edition with this cool cover, or you can get a shorter version that has this really beautiful. It's not embossing. It's like on it, like you could see, like it rubs off. These are cheaply made, but they're really pretty, and I really like them. So you can make fun of them for being cheap or not, but I really like these. This one arrived today, and I can't wait to dip into this. One bad thing is Amazon, when they send them, they have a sticker on the back, and it discolors the book, which anyways, they still look good like this. Now, O. Henry, of course, The Gift of the Magi and The Last Leaf, but there are a lot of other stories in here. I think I've read a couple of these, so I'm really looking forward to jumping into this. I got a lot to read, y'all. All right, let me put that up there. Now, as promised, excuse me, this was supposedly my next book, and I haven't started it yet. That's like the best problem in the world, which book to start next. So cool. Now, I'm going to end today with a long-winded discussion of the Spirit. Now, I've been getting into the Spirit. Anybody who's like anybody really good, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of the older YouTubers that I follow, who are in the know, like they know older comics, they all talk about the Spirit. They've made videos about him. I've been I just watched Sleepy Readers. I also know For the Love of Comics made one. I think I did watch his. So I was like, I need to get into the Spirit. So I recently won some magazines, and I started reading it, and I enjoyed it, but I was complaining because it seems really disjointed. It's not, the Spirit is not going to be episodic where like modern comics are. It's more about jumping in and doing something in 7 pages that shows like a little world. And once you get used to that, you can really, really enjoy the Spirit. Now, in one of the lots that I bought, I got these kitchen sink versions. Now, the magazines are way nicer, but there's something about the kitchen sink ones that are really cool, and I'm going to explain. Now, I shouldn't say that because I remember the magazine also, I think, has these, but there is commentary on every single one of the stories in here. These kitchen sink things are so cool. And it's 3 pages of commentary. 1, 2, and there's one more continue on page 24. And what these do is there's 4 stories in this comic, and the column goes through each one, and it puts it in historical context, and it talks about Will Eisner, what he was trying to do with that specific story, because Will Eisner was so innovative with comics and storytelling art and what you could do with comics, and he was constantly trying to do new things. And the commentator includes Will Eisner's own quotes about the stories that he has in here, and then also talks about the historical context. Man, it's really cool to read something from the 1940s and then have it put into context, because a lot of it I wouldn't know, like, oh, he did this first, and it's very, very specific. So I'm going to give some examples. So the first story is called The Tunnel, or just Tunnel. And the art in these things are so cool. These are things that you look at all the details. Now, this is a political comic, and it's about the political corruption. I'm not a big fan of that type of comic. I still really enjoyed this. Now, what he did was a scientist came up with a machine that allows you to see the final moments of someone who recently died. And Will Eisner talks about why he did this. He wanted a way to watch the action, but also comment on it. And so, I hope I get over this cough soon. We have this framing device. It's like we get the action, and then it's shrunken into the square, and then we have people commenting on it. And it's really cool. In the second story, which is also politically minded, we have a character who is digging a tunnel throughout the entire issue, and he keeps popping up. And Will Eisner wanted this to kind of bring a comedic effect and help move the story along. And so as you're going through the 7-page story, you're also seeing this guy go through different parts of the city, and it was really nice. Now, the third story was really funny and problematic, actually. It's called This is Wild Rice. And for some reason, he wanted, and he even uses the word slanted, he wanted this woman to have slanted eyes, but I don't think she's Asian at all. And her name is Wild Rice. And she's one of these bad girls. She's rich, and she's not happy. And he starts off with all of this narrative, which is actually really nice. He sets her up, and then it goes into the comic, and she stumbles upon someone breaking into her father's safe at her house party. And the guy, instead of running away, she's intrigued, and the guy starts slapping her around, manhandling her, and she's excited. She likes it. And so she says, "You're going to take me with you. I'm going to tell on you." And he drags her by the hair, throws her in the car. He's choking her. And she's so excited about this. He's giving her a black eye here. This is crazy. And I'll just leave it at that. If you want to read it, you can. Now, the funny thing about it in the commentary, Will Eisner was like, "I was so happy when the Patty Hearst thing came out because it justified my story. I was laughing so hard. So he wrote this like crazy story about a woman who loves to get hit and beat up, and then when the Patty Hearst thing, and also, Patty Hearst was she was abducted, but then she became brainwashed. I don't know all the details about it, and so I think it's called Stockholm syndrome, right? And so he was so happy because this was one of his favorite stories he wrote, and then the story was justified because it happened in real life. Like I said, so problematic, so hilarious, but the commentary on this was so cool. Will Eisner was a very flawed man who was working in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. There's going to be a lot of racist elements in the Spirit. Like I said, like I've said many times, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, right? Like he was a product of his time, and I'm not excusing it, but I'm looking at it in many ways as a historical document as well as entertainment. And then the final story was my favorite. It was very comedic, and look at this great splash page. And so this is this woman is madly in love with the Spirit, and she's trying to get her inheritance early so that she can do something with the money to impress the Spirit so that he won't marry her. And I mean, look at the great art in this. And this one, I guess, is famous for some of the comedic elements that he he kind of borrowed from cinema, and he was trying to get some cinematic ideas into this kind of form. And so, for example, he said he got this right from a Buster Keaton movie where she shoots and the bullet just drops. And then there's this other part where the Spirit is hitting a bad guy, and as you could see, like the bad guy is falling and he's like hitting him as he's going down. I guess this was also from a movie that he tried to incorporate into this art form. 4 Spirit stories. This is the Spirit number 29. I have more of these. I can't wait to dive into these because these things are like gold. Let me just go ahead and show off some of the ones I have. And I'm bad because I actually bought some more. Here's number 38. Yeah, I can't wait to read these. These are so cool. This one is number 39. This one is 47. And this one is number 71. I really like that cover. Now, the great thing about it is you can jump in and out of these because they're not episodic. You can jump in anywhere, and especially with the commentary. The commentary is going to tell you why. Look at that. What? This is later in the run. I mean, look at that. I can't wait to read that one. Why these comics are interesting, and besides the straight up entertainment value, why they're important historical documents for comic art. Okay, I've gone on and on about the Spirit. I'm looking around. Did I forget everything? No. Well, as always, wow, that was 43 minutes. I think I went on too long about the Spirit. I hope I didn't make anyone fall asleep. But as always, if you stuck around for all of this, I want to thank all of you. I'm getting ready to cough. I want to thank all of you for your continued support.